Hey everyone, welcome to the Good News Podcast. In today's episode, I will once again be talking with my wife Katrina as we reflect on the Lucas Holtom Carnival, a response that was directly related to this tragic loss we had back in July 2000. And as we talk about this today, it amazes me looking back. I don't know if you've ever started something that became way more than you ever imagined it would be. That's definitely the case for us and for this carnival. And as we chat about it today, you'll get a sense, I think, of so many people that have been involved in this over the years. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Please enjoy. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Good News Podcast. As always, so glad you can join us. You can listen in, that you can watch this episode here with my wife, Katrina Holtom, the lovely
Hello.
Katrina, as I
Yes.
love to say. And if you tuned in last week, and it's there for you if you didn't, we shared the story of our first child, Lucas, and the tragic loss that we experienced, and also where we found God in the midst of all of that, and how God has brought hope. And one of the places that God has brought hope is through what would become the Lucas Holtom Carnival, and we're devoting this episode to that. In fact, this is really a 3-week series, a 3-part series, and so I'll tell you a bit more at the end. But next week we'll actually have this conversation around the carnival, the impact on the carnival, with our kids, Leah, Cameron, and Caleb.
Yep.
So I hope you can join us for that as well. But for today, want to get into how did the carnival even come to be, and then we'll tell you a bit more about what it was about and how it has just blessed this community in so many ways over the years. You know, as we think back, Katrina, that first year after Lucas had passed away, we were faced with what was for us a very important decision, what to do in honor of Lucas's memory, in part because, as often happens in these situations, it was so public, so tragic that quite a bit of money came in his memory. And so it was in some ways our job to really help discern what are we going to do with that, and then what would that do to honor and remember him. And I don't know, do you remember, like, we thought about a few different ideas.
I mean, definitely over that year. I mean, a difficult year. Obviously, that first year after a loss you've got everything that happens. It's the first time without that person. It's the first time, the first Christmas, the first, all those things. And as we led up to the date of July 14th, coming up on the anniversary, it was really important for us to do something to acknowledge, and obviously with this money. And so, you think about the person, you want to honor who they were. I mean, Lucas was only 2, so as much as we saw that he loved music, and we thought, well, should we provide music lessons for a child? Could we use the money to do that, and in honor of him? I don't know. Was there that's one I remember. Do you remember some other things?
I don't remember too many ideas because I think quickly got onto this idea.
Well, because the main characteristic of Lucas that we wanted to be able to share was his joy. We talked about that. We talked about that last time, just, in his personality and the joy that he had, the joy of life, and what a 2-year-old should have, but how many people he connected with. And so it started to be like one giving music lessons to like one child just didn't seem fitting. It didn't seem
I guess it kind of evolved into, boy, he knew so many people, even in just 2 years, experienced so much joy. How could we give that kind of experience to more people, to more families, to more kids? And I think there was also this part that really we just, as we had reflected on his life, knew that he had been so blessed by being a part of a community here at North Bramley, being a part of a church community. And not that this would do that, but somehow bringing more people together was part of what we
giving more people an opportunity to, because as we felt the need to honor him, our church family and community did as well, if people, you wanted to do something.
So what would be something that
we could all
others could participate in? Yeah, exactly.
And
so we came up with the idea of a carnival, and we named it, very simply, the Lucas Holtom Carnival Day. And I guess one of the big things about the vision from the very beginning
Yes.
was that we really believed it needed to be free. And partly there was some resource in there to help that happen, at least initially. We'll tell you how that shifted over the years, because as the carnival grew and we
Yes.
continued on, we need to
Yes.
find different ways to keep it
Yes.
free, to resource it. But initially we had enough money to come in that we could offer a carnival for free. And I guess we just realized that for families in Brampton and beyond to come to this carnival and to have to pay, that's not fun. Like
No.
that can be stressful. And we wanted it to be open to all people who didn't have resourcing to come to a carnival.
Right.
And so anyway, it became very clear. It was a conviction for us that
For
this needed to
sure.
be free, that parents could come and their kids could go on the pony rides as many times as they wanted.
Well, yeah,
And
the
you didn't have to stand there in
different
line and think, how
yeah.
much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
Or say no because of the cost.
Right. If
And
they wanted to get their face painted,
Yeah.
be like, absolutely, you can get your face painted. Like you
yeah,
don't have to worry about how much it's going to cost and
yeah.
and
Not-
all the different events that we had. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think over the years that became one of the two, I would say, really, really
Right.
unique things about the carnival. There's actually a lot of things that were unique
Sure.
about it, but one was that it was free, and two, that the size of it grew, as it grew in size, it
Yes.
really shocked people when they would come and see.
Yeah.
The last 10 years or so of the 20 years that it was running for, there was probably close to 4,000 or 5,000 people
That would come through the park over
on,
the
on
4
a,
hour.
on a nice day.
Yeah, on the 4 hour
Yeah,
period.
and but that free part, like people just, I would be in meetings or conversations and say,
Yeah.
oh, it's a free carnival, and and we do what we can to keep it free, and then someone would say at the end of that conversation, so what are you raising money for? And
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
no, we raise money or we resource it up front. It's free on the day.
Yeah.
And anyway,
Yeah, that was definitely hard.
But for us,
hard
like, why
shift.
was it free? Why was it free? It all went back to the original vision that we wanted to give as many families, children, this
day of
joy-filled
joy.
experience that reflected the life that Lucas had had in those 2 years. And
it also needed to be
free was important.
and to be free was very important. And that idea that it needed to be, because the church backs onto what was Leander Park,
Yeah.
and so to have it right near the church, that was also really important, because it was had that connection to the church and to our community and our church family.
Yeah. And for us, and this is a part that evolved, I think, over the years,
Yeah.
but for us, it was always a church thing in the sense of, we're not, it's not a
Having
worship
a-
service in the park. We do that. We did that. We'll do more. Like, that was great. But it was a carnival for sure, but it was still
Yes.
a church thing in the sense of, I think you're right, Katrina, the connection to the park beside the church, the church being involved in it, volunteering. And that would be a piece that we didn't see coming, but it quickly became part of the mission of our church, where we could so clearly and in such a like a large way with so many people offer hope, which is key to the gospel, but also just bless the city, bless the community. And it became that,
It did.
in a big way. And that became part of what the carnival represents as
Yeah,
well.
we came from the first year, and I don't know if I have it right, but I have this number
Yeah.
in my head. I would have to look back to the stats, but the first year, I mean, we really didn't know how many people would come. And, we did our advertising and dropped flyers in mailboxes and did all those things. And thought, I don't know, I had numbers in my head like 500, and that 1,500 people were there that first, like 3 times as many as we expected. So whether I have those numbers right, I know it was still at least 3
Yeah.
times what we expected
Yeah.
to get, and we were amazed, at that. And it was an awesome day. It just it did everything that we hoped for. I think,
Yeah.
you know.
And I don't even know, like, when we started, it's funny when you start something, and people may be thinking about things that you start, or maybe things that you're wanting to start. We had no idea what it would become. Like, that is so,
Yeah.
like that, and
Yes.
I don't even remember, like, we didn't have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, 10-year plan. We just said we're gonna do this for 20 years. We just said, let's do it next year.
Yeah.
Or let's do it this year. And then it was quickly something that was so good,
Yeah.
such a blessing. Talk about bringing hope. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. We just knew that we had to do it year after
Yeah.
year after year after
Yes.
year. Yeah. And as we think back, lots of unique
Yes.
things about the carnival that did make it different from other events in the
Yes,
city or
absolutely,
other
yeah.
events.
Yeah, I think right off the bat, I mean, because it was the Lucas Holtom Carnival Day, that we had a slideshow to begin the
Yeah.
day, and the slideshow of Lucas, and in a way, because we were remembering and honoring. It was a day to, that was, especially the first year anniversary. It was like, of course, we're gonna remember Lucas, and
Hmm.
we're going to, um, yeah, we're going to share that together. That the reason for this day, um, and remember him. And we, as proud parents, wanted to share that with everybody. And so the slideshow was available for people to watch during the day as well. And, so that was definitely unique, right? Because not everybody would get in there to watch it. People would come and would know it's the Lucas Holtom Carnival Day, and they may or may not know the story. I think we handed out a little flyer that we would try and give a little
Yeah.
synopsis of what the day was about, so that people could read and would know, why was this day happening, and what was the significance of Lucas Holtom, and why is, what's that all about? So, but yeah, that was definitely unique, right? It puts a different spin on the day. Like,
Yeah.
you appreciate your children, you appreciate your family, you appreciate a day like this in
Yeah.
light of the loss that someone else has
Yeah,
had.
yeah,
So
for sure. And
yeah.
as it grew over the years, I can't say that I know for sure everyone that came to the carnival
Hmm.
knew what it was about.
No,
And
yeah.
that's okay. They just hear the music playing, they walk in, they have a
Oh,
great day. That's
that's
okay. That's
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of people did. And even
Yes.
just because of the name of it, that's why we were clear to name it the Lucas Holtom Carnival.
Yes.
Who's Lucas? What happened? Just to hear that story
Hmm.
and get a sense that out of a tragedy like that, we can still experience life. And that's what people are experiencing on that
Hmm.
carnival day.
Yeah.
And so many people, I agree that that would be one of the unique things about it, that not only did you have a great time, it was free,
Yeah.
but also for those that did
Yeah.
know why it was being offered, they definitely, we heard story about that year
Hmm.
after year after year,
Yeah.
like all kinds
Never
of
failed.
stories of
Yeah.
people just going home and appreciating their life and appreciating their kids and appreciating their family. And actually didn't see this one coming, but it makes absolute sense. People also reflecting on losses that they've had,
Hmm.
people who they miss, and just feeling a bit closer to them too.
Hmm.
Not just if it was a child, but whatever loss they would have had
Hmm.
because of the day and all that it was and why we were doing it and all
Hmm.
that it represented. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, the offering a opportunity for another family each year
Yeah.
to
That.
highlight their child, to honor their child, to show pictures and be a part of the carnival. That was on the promotions. That was on everything. That was one of the best things for me. That just, yeah. And
Hmm.
we've got close to 20 families then who we've shared this experience with, and
Hmm.
it's very it's an intimate thing to share an
It
experience like
is.
that. And
It
just
is.
we're still very much in touch with most of those families.
Hmm.
Some may be watching and listening to this today. I hope so.
Hmm.
And just really grateful for that
Hmm.
relationship that God has blessed us with them.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that was something that really, moved us in over, the year. The one year, of course, we um, participated in some counseling and
Yeah.
some grief counseling with other parents, because
Hmm.
that was really unique, right? It was not. I know I really sought out and wanted to talk to other people who had lost children,
Hmm.
and because one, I know I needed to know that they were okay, and
Hmm.
that they were, um, you know, able to live
Yeah. Yeah.
and find
Yeah.
joy,
You become what you see, and we want to
yeah,
become parents that have
yes. So
survived,
I needed.
and we need to see that. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so it was really unique. So we
Yeah.
got connected to people, and then, just that day, that carnival day, and sharing it with that many people was so, again, just another element of hope, and just being surrounded by people who are sharing in that memory, and feeling that with you and walking alongside you. We wanted to offer that to other families, and it was really, really amazing. Yeah, really, really powerful, and hard, because that's how Carnival Day started, was looking at pictures and remembering these beautiful children who were no longer with us. And so it was always a tough time, but it translated then into the Carnival Day. And so
Hmm.
just that being able to participate in that and have other families experience that, was really, really
Yeah,
important
yeah.
for
We had
us.
remember the one year
And
we had a dinner the Thursday night before the carnival
yes,
where we
yeah.
brought together all of the families
Yeah, I think it was at 10
who
years
we'd
or
honored,
something.
and yeah, I think maybe it was a
Yeah.
10-year anniversary. And
Yeah.
what a special night that was,
Yes,
just
it
to be
was.
together with the carnival team and with those
Mhm.
families. And yeah, it's never forget that.
No.
Never forget that. Another piece for me was the way the community came together around
Yeah.
this event, and that's
Yeah.
also what helped
Yes,
grow it exponentially and
for
so
sure.
quickly. We developed a better Brampton area because,
Mhm.
our vision at NBUC is Imagine God
Mhm.
building better lives, better families, a better Brampton and beyond. We do. And so we said, how do we honor our vision as a church, with the carnival? And we just
Mhm.
realized, wow. And so that element of the carnival that would bring in different groups around the city
Yeah.
so they could share some of their information on the way that they were trying to bless
Yeah,
families
support
and children.
families
Yeah,
and
yeah.
children. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, just the way the whole city got on board. I mean, there was never a year that whoever was the active mayor didn't
Mhm.
come by the carnival,
Mhm.
like every year.
Yeah.
And I know if it was an election year, pretty much all of the people who were putting their name forward for mayor would come by and want
Yeah.
pictures and say
Yeah,
hi.
so it was
But it just became this community event. We
right.
were on the map in a really good way. And
Well,
again,
and
about a church blessing the
yeah.
community, which surely, is
Yes.
part of what the role of the church is. Yeah.
And and like the city of Brampton was
Oh, so
so
supportive over the
supportive and
years. And
so, made that happen, and
yeah,
we were able
yeah,
to use the park,
yeah.
and we were, they resourced us with the washrooms and the picnic tables, and amazing.
And
Like, it was
even as
so
things
great.
shifted and changed, we had to
Yes,
work
over the
through some
years.
things. And Jane Vardy, if you're watching
Mhm,
or listening to this,
mhm.
God bless you for working through some of those things. But
Yeah.
but overall, definitely on board all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and a part of it. And businesses in the community actually became the
Mhm.
funders
Right.
for this. We got sponsors because the
Eventually,
carnival would cost
yeah.
$20,000.
Yeah.
And want to shout out to Pam Gibson. She was helping us on a number of different levels at one point, and realized that
Yeah.
it was her idea, I believe, that as we were running out of resources because there was
Yes.
only so much in the bank when when
Yeah.
people had
From the
given
fund.
after Lucas had passed away. And as it grew, we realized, wow, this we're not tracking well here. This is not going to work for the long
Yeah,
haul.
you can only
And
be free for
the
so
carnival's
long.
growing, it's getting more expensive, and the number in the bank account is going down. And so we had to come up with a new model, and it just worked. I mean, it took work. Had
Yeah.
to roll up your sleeves and
Mhm.
make some calls and send some emails. But man, like
Mhm.
companies, businesses, individuals loved to support this event and
Yes.
would give
Yes.
significantly upfront so that it could be free on the day. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, to keep it free. Yeah,
yeah.
and it
Just
was
that whole collectively
yeah.
offering an event like this together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and again, it just so aligned with what we hoped would happen for that day for Lucas's memory, just like the idea of offering joy and joy to those that would come,
Mhm.
but joy to those that participated, whether they
Mhm.
were offering funds or volunteering or, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever they might do. And it reached, and over the years, it really reached, in so many different directions,
Yeah.
different people who would come and volunteer. I, as a teacher in the first number of years, I didn't really have many of my students, but like later
Yeah.
on,
That was a cool
Later
element.
on, many
Yeah.
many of my students from North Park would come and
Yeah.
volunteer, and then they would come back year after year, even after they graduated, which was incredible. So just the reach that it had, and the number of different ways um, that people could come or be a part of it and experience the joy of whatever part they played.
Yeah, yeah. Just you
Mhm.
think about so many different people so playing so many different parts.
Mhm.
And it's hard to name specifics because
Oh,
over 20 years, so many
oh my
people involved
goodness.
every year, like 250, 300 volunteers, let
Oh,
alone
yeah.
everyone else who was coming to participate. You're gonna miss people, but
Right.
I think it's worth the risk to do that. Just to name some of those
Mhm.
people who did that as we reflect back on it. Because as you say, there were so many different roles and ways that happened. So I'm thinking as you're talking about Chuck Thomas
Mm.
and Chuck, for those that may know Chuck, he was certainly in the later stages of his life as the carnival was happening. He
Mhm.
passed away a few years ago, but he, as he was well into his 80s, going to a carnival, wasn't necessarily what he was looking to do those days. But I remember him coming every year that he could and walking through that crowded park to find us, to shake our hand or give us a hug or whatever it might have been at the time, and give us a check, to be honest, and say, hey, I just want to support this day
Yeah.
because I know what it means and what it's all about and what it's doing for the community.
Yes.
And there's so many Chuck Thomases out
Oh,
there who were a
yeah.
part of this over the years. Yeah, and it
Yes.
just so awesome. I think of Rob Brown, and Rob jumped in to do the sound each year, and I just,
as our sound needs
Yeah.
grew and different things.
Rob always rolled with it.
Oh, yeah.
Can we have 2 stages? Sure. He was just, for sure.
Make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the carnival team, you all know who you are, but we all not only shared an assignment that God had given us.
Right. But we shared a lot of life and a lot of love for Lucas, and that was so special.
Yeah.
I mean, how the idea came is one thing, but how this team came together and got so excited about it, and everybody offered their incredible ideas about it, and how to make it even better, and how to what elements to add, and the thoughtfulness of all of those things. I always just amazed me, and just so appreciative of that team.
Yeah, absolutely. Some were on board from the very beginning, and some came on and along as we went and grew, and just so appreciative. And then I think back, because when you have an idea, what I find what happens is, at first, usually you think it's a really good idea, or you wouldn't say anything about it or go forward with it. But then after you start to share it, sometimes you wonder, like, is it just me? Is this actually going to work? You start to think about some of the details, think about how much work it's going to be. And so how people respond to an idea is really instrumental in whether that idea comes to fruition, has been my experience as a leader over the years. I remember 2 people in particular that got on board right out of the gates from this one before it even happened. One was Jane Vardy, because she was an event planner and just knew what it would take. So I remember, actually, it's funny, I remember where I was when I shared this idea with her. I was standing in the parking lot, walking up the walkway that doesn't exist anymore because we built on it, but, and then Murray Morton was another. And Murray, over all the years of the carnival, he helped resource it by not only himself, but also helping other companies participate in resourcing, and reach out to some of his contacts, which was great. So helpful in keeping it free, resourcing it, but also that very first conversation where he was more than supportive. And I just think back to that, and
some pretty neat people.
And what about the Hanley family? Again,
Oh
it's
my
so hard to
gosh.
just pull people out, because
so-
and my apologies, friends, if we've
know.
forgotten to name you, because so many people
We
have been
just don't
involved
have
over the
time to
years,
name everybody.
right? But the Hanleys with the balloon animals,
Oh my
like,
goodness.
tell them how they just
Again,
owned
well,
that
there's
one. This is so
there's
cool.
a piece that just people offering, saying, hey, I can do balloon animals, and great, and that is a very popular item, especially when it's free
and not easy to do.
to do. And so Pat would be there doing that. I know their whole family got into it. They because he could train them.
Yeah.
Eventually we made a little video.
Pat made a video
to try and
before
train.
videos were cool.
Yeah,
Before
exactly.
this was like, it was such a way of the world right now.
How to do a certain type of balloon animal, like what we learned was, like, if you can just make a sword, or if you can just make one thing, you're good to go. But you don't have to learn how to make a lot of things, just make one thing. And so that, just incredible. And those, their poor fingers, on years when we didn't get too many other volunteers to work that station, but they a lot of blisters on those fingers that the Hanley family offered to us over the years. So
exactly.
and so many people that just put their heart into it, and some very quietly, just very quietly doing these little things that made the day so special.
Larry Mitchell, who was the host, the DJ, the MC, year after year after year, and the list goes on and on. And so thanks to everybody. I think my sense is that people really did enjoy being a
Mhm.
part of it, that it wasn't
Yes.
arm twisting people involved. You said it kind of took a life of its own, and people
Oh,
came with
yeah.
that kind of spirit and passion.
Mhm.
And I think a part of it is because of the hope that the carnival offered. And we
Mhm.
all need hope.
Mhm.
And I think no matter where we are on our in our life or age or stage, or even where we are as far as faith perspective, it's different perspectives, and
Mhm.
totally understand that. I think everybody needs hope and wants to offer hope and share hope.
Mhm.
And I think because the carnival that was such at the heart of
Yeah.
it. People came with a great desire.
Mhm.
Marcus and Craig,
Craig the
juggler,
juggler.
but
Yeah.
who did all kinds of events. But I know all
Yeah.
over Ontario, all over Canada. But this one
Yeah.
was different and unique.
Mhm.
Um, it would be, I think, really good to talk a bit about as we reflect on the carnival. And I don't know how we can, how hope really was at the heart of it, and continued to rise up in it and through it each year.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I think as we look at how the day was structured and how, again, beginning the day, always keeping in mind, why are we here today? What is our reason
Mm.
for doing this work or coming today? And if volunteers came, at 8 8:30, I can't remember what time
Mhm, mhm,
we
mhm,
tried to start our little slideshow and opening, and some volunteers would come. Just, we want you to know the heart for which this has been put together.
mhm,
And it starts with a broken heart.
mhm,
And out of that broken heart came the desire um to offer hope. And it was just so important to do that, and just represent, I think, how God's heart can be broken for for the world,
mhm,
and the desire to say, I want to come in and try and make life full and joyful again.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
um I don't know if I'm answering the question that you had anymore.
No, it's not
I
really a
just started
question.
No,
It's
it's
just
just kind of,
really
yeah.
exploring as we reflect on the
Yeah.
carnival, the ways that hope was so at the heart of it, and the way
Yeah,
that
well, and I
God
think
rose up to bring that kind of
for
hope.
me, it was
Yeah,
that beginning part of it that's where we needed to start, because, I mean, hope comes out of something
yeah,
broken. Like, you don't need hope if
yeah,
if everything's
yeah,
cool, I guess.
yeah. And when you think about that first year going back, we've just
Mhm.
experienced that the year before a
Yeah.
tragedy we're all still trying to catch up on.
Mhm.
Even then, like, it didn't matter how big. I think that was the thing. Like, it didn't
No.
matter. It's cool that it got big and
Yeah, yeah.
but it didn't matter. Like, if there was 20 people showing up to have this Lucas
Mhm.
Holtom Carnival Day, hope was still going to rise up.
Mhm.
Something was happening. And for me, it continued to reflect and deepen my understanding of the resurrection.
Mm.
Um, even if it's even as if it's as simply put as you say, out of death, out of brokenness, out of loss, God's going to do something.
Mhm.
God's going to bring life out of that. That's
Mhm.
resurrection,
Mhm.
and just continue to feel that year after year.
Mhm.
The way the whole
Yeah.
thing would come together, the
Ugh.
energy that would
Mhm.
build as we went through
Mhm.
the week, and even weeks leading up to the carnival, the
Mhm.
day of the carnival, the park filled with people, the way that the park went from nothing
Yeah. Yeah, that
within
was
an
always
hour and a half,
amazing.
2 hours, to this incredible
Set
army of
up of
volunteers setting up like resurrection and park,
Mhm.
just all over the place.
Yeah.
The way that life and energy and hope would flow out from the carnival into people's homes in the city, into the church the next morning as we worshiped.
Mhm.
There's yeah, that evidence that like, because the resurrection, how do you even begin to understand that? That out of death God rose up and brings new life in
Mhm.
in Christ. And I just feel like the carnival has been, I know it has been for me, just year after year after
Mhm.
year, a
Yeah.
continued deepening of what that actually means and what that
Mhm.
looks like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that sense of that sense of pure joy that inevitably came, even as, you know, planners and being in the thick of things on the day, it never failed that you would catch a glimpse of just some pure joy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if that doesn't give you a glimpse of God, then I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was pretty special. And, over the years, 20 years, people coming for the first time, and just always being so marveling at what was going on and what
Mm-hmm.
was before them. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. One of my favorite moments, maybe this is a good one to end on here, was always. I'd love to get your reflections too. Katrina. You got the last word. You should have the last word for sure. But was the carnival team sitting around on a Saturday night,
Hmm.
exhausted, like just
Totally.
exhausted, and to be quite honest, as the years went on, more
More
exhausted.
exhausted. Yeah. 20 years. Long
But
time.
sitting around and reflecting and celebrating where we'd seen God at work, where what inspired us throughout the day, just sharing some of that,
Yeah.
and I just, man, those were I don't have the list before me,
I know.
but man, those that I don't know, sweet, rich, holy ground, those moments of
Yeah.
and many of them, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that was, to come together and reflect on the day and hear everybody's different experience because, we're all in different
Yeah.
places and we all end up talking to different people
Yeah.
and see all
Yeah.
kinds of different things happening. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that, the carnival touched people in so many different ways. Like I said, that the reach and
Mm-hmm.
that it had in so many different ways. And I think coming to the last carnival in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
um, where we, beautifully had, thank you to so many people who made that happen, the renaming of the
Yeah.
park to the Lucas Holtom Children's Park.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And
think
especially
that,
Gail Miles. Gail
yes,
Miles took
brought
that one
that
and
forward,
ran with
right?
it and just
Yeah.
shout out to Gail and
And
my
could not
goodness.
believe how
Yeah.
that happened. We kind of thought it might happen in a few years,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah. Maybe one
happened.
day. Yeah.
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 So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that is just a testament to what the carnival was able to do
Yeah.
in the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
And as uh, and talking about hope, like
Mhm.
and for us, excuse me, for us, the renaming of the park, just to be really clear, it really wasn't so that the name Holtom or even the name Lucas Holtom
No.
could be out there. That
No,
was
no.
not what it was about for us. It was so that the legacy
Mhm.
of hope
Mhm. Yeah.
that God had brought into that park
Into that park
year after year after
and
year
on
after
Carnival
year
Day. Mhm.
could be lived and experienced all the time.
Yeah.
That every day of the year, people could walk through that park and
And
see,
be
which
able
is
to
there. There's
have
there's a beautiful bench and there's a
Mhm.
beautiful sign that explains the story of Lucas and the story of the
Yep.
carnival, that people might be able to read
Mhm.
that. And whatever they're going through that day,
Mhm.
just know that there's hope for them as well.
Yeah.
That's what that is about, the
Yeah.
Lucas Holtom Children's Park. So thanks for Gail Miles to
Yes.
not only making that happen,
Yeah.
but spreading and sharing hope. And
Mhm.
well, you talk about different experiences, and we all have different experiences at the carnival. Next week's episode is going to allow us to really dive into that. We're going to have our kids, Leah, Cameron, and Caleb. I almost said Lucas. Oh my gosh, Leah, Cameron, and Caleb with us,
Mhm.
and together as a family, we're gonna share a bit of our experience at the carnival over the years and
Yeah.
where we, in different ways, but together
Mhm.
certainly have found hope. So,
Mhm.
friends, thanks for joining us today on the Good News Podcast, and we'll leave it there. Hope you can join us next week. It's going to be another special episode,
Definitely.
and may God continue to bless you. And we're so glad that you be part of the Good News Podcast family, if you will. Thanks for listening and tuning in. God
Absolutely.
bless you, and hope to see you again next time. Well, friends, thanks for joining us today. Man, I'm amazed at the way when you share and talk about an experience like that, something that's been going on for years, just the many, many different ways that God has been involved in the carnival, all the different people that not only been a part of participating, contributing, putting it on, leading it, but also the thousands and thousands of people that have been blessed by this one-day event over the years. And man, when I think about that park, Leander Park, being renamed Lucas Holtom Children's Park, wow, that's kind of the icing on the cake, if you will. So thanks again for being a part of this episode today, and may God bless you in whatever you got going on in your life. As we move into next week, just want to let you know it's going to be a very special one. Our kids are going to join us for this conversation on their reflections of the carnival over the years. It's going to be a great one. Hope you can join us for that. Please don't forget to follow us, to subscribe. If you could give a review, that would be awesome. You can also check us out on Instagram at Good News with Jamie Holtom. Thanks again for joining us, friends. God bless you.